Okay. You want to kick things off, Nick, and we'll get rolling and people go join us. Oh, I'm the host now. All right. Good.
Well, just want to welcome everybody and say thank you for participating on today's webinar. We want to thank Larry Johnson with the El Camino College SBDC for lending his time and services to our members and the community, and also the City of Beverly Hills for partnering with us on this program and allowing us to provide this much needed resource at this time. So thank you, Larry, for being here with us, and I'll let you take it away.
Sure, great. Thank you so much, Nick. It's great to once again talk to the members of the City of Beverly Hills and the Beverly Hills Chamber. Uh, a lot's been happening to us all in this shutdown environment, and most of us are eager to get some semblance of business back. What I'd like to do today is give you an overview of where we are with regards to the government programs, and and be responsive to any questions you might have on what you're experiencing, and then give you some insight in terms of since we're now getting back and the things are beginning to loosen up. Some businesses are opening. Certainly, if you have a retail business, at the very least, the curbside aspect is really could be a reality for you, and that could be a way to begin to re-engage with your client base. But we'll get into that a little bit later. With regards to the two major programs, the Emergency Injury Disaster Loan and the Paycheck Protection Program. The Paycheck Protection Program is alive and active, and continues to receive applications. And I urge you, if you haven't already applied, to apply. People are getting awarded loans from that program. I am getting lots of questions, though, and that people in applying for that program haven't really paid attention to exactly what they are applying for. And they are beginning to exhibit signs of shock when they realize that they will only have 2 months from the date of receiving the money to use it. And if they want to get forgiveness for the money that they received, they have to use it for very specific purposes. And so many of the folks that I have been working with are finding reasons why they may not be able to use those funds during that period, either because people, their employees don't want to come back, they're happy with the unemployment checks they're getting, or that the jurisdictions in which they live in are not open for their business fully, and as a result, they won't be able to pay people for work, and want to know what they should do. So those are some of the questions that I am getting, and if these are questions you have, we can address those. But the PPP program is alive and ongoing. The EIDL program is only accepting new applications for agricultural related businesses. So for most of the businesses, the EIDL program is still remains closed. We have no indication of whether or not it will reopen. Um, and as soon as we get that type of notification, we will make that available to you. Any existing EIDL applications are being handled on a first come, first served basis. And I'm happy to see that every day I get acknowledgement from clients that they have received checks into their deposits into their bank accounts, or they've received an email from the SBA advising them that they've been awarded a loan, and making arrangements for the receipt of the loan documentation for signing. The PUA program, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, is active and up and running. Individuals who were not previously eligible to receive unemployment benefits can now receive unemployment benefits under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, which adds $600 a week to the existing California state minimum payment of at least $167 a week. So if indeed your business is not producing funds to enable, not producing enough money for you to have an income, or your business is totally shut down and you're an LLC, so single member LLC, or a solopreneur, a 1099 operator, you can now get unemployment insurance, pandemic unemployment assistance for the next 39 weeks, and that is indeed welcome money. It probably won't make you whole, but it will certainly pay for a few bills. Those are the major programs that are available. There are other programs and grant opportunities that pop up that are offered either by the County of Los Angeles or by other jurisdictions, but these are the major programs that we have to offer. Some private industry businesses like Facebook and Amazon from time to time have been offering grants or small loan programs, but again, these pale in comparison to the size and breadth of the federal programs. So I'll stop for a minute to see if there are any specific questions that I might be able to address. Does anyone have a question or concern that I can address now?
Oh, Vicky, you're on mute, and since we have such a small crowd, we're gonna allow just questions verbally through the video.
One of the things
I think, yeah, go ahead, Larry. I think Vicky's trying to ask a question now.
If somebody has a question, let them go ahead.
Yeah. Vicky?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so Larry, I think, my name is Vicky Mans. I have a restaurant on Cannon Drive, and I just signed the PPP loan. I think one of the biggest confusion for me, I understand there are 2 months. I haven't got the money yet, but I only have 2 months to spend forward. In terms of 75% has to go to the payroll.
Payroll and payroll related expenses. So not only salary and wages, but commissions, tips, employee benefits like vacation, parental leave, family, medical, sick leave.
What about payroll related tax, like 941, 940? Can I use that money for that?
Your payroll related taxes, yes.
Okay, so that is also included.
Yes.
Now, can I backtrack? So let's just say the people are not showing up to work. And my understanding, the government want us to compensate the people didn't show up to work either, correct?
I think that the plan is that people should come back to work. If they don't come back to work, the government wants you to do two things. One, make them aware that by not coming back to work and that you're offering them a job that's comparable to what they had before, that they are jeopardizing their right to receive unemployment benefits. Because
okay, all right, so yes, I like what I hear. So that means, are we gonna go through some kind of vetting that communicate with authority? These are look, there are two kinds of employees. One chooses not to come back, and one wants to work and doesn't have the position available. Like my bartender, I have no dining room, so I don't need a bartender. So how are we distinguish those two kinds of employees in the business?
Oh, okay. So let me, before I answer that question, I should give you an aside. I have a very good client of mine that has a restaurant. They can't open, but he's doing a robust takeout business and curbside grab and go. He's rehired his bartender, and his bartender is making cocktails to go. So
Okay.
yeah, you're allowed to do that, and he's making cocktails to go, and his cocktail business is booming because
Uh-huh.
the kids love these fancy cocktails, and he's created some new ones, and some of the things he's even doing in mason jars, and just kind of a unique, interesting thing. And it's a takeoff of what the breweries are doing. They're selling their beer in in uh, in thermos bottles, water thermos bottles. But you can go up to a brewery, and so why can't you go to a bar and get yourself a mixed martini in your thermos bottle, so your pre-dinner cocktail? It's
Right.
another
So
revenue source for you also.
that's correct. So moving forward, let's just say I'm going to recruit more people. Once I got the money, then I'm going to recruit more people. I'm able to do more concept ideas that will require more funding. Now, there are two kinds of employee, like I said. One choose not to come back, and they're still claiming unemployment. And the one wants to come back, now they're reassessing, because seems like the unemployment is more money than if they are coming back part-time.
Well, you're absolutely right. I wasn't a fan of that program when they put it in place. Anyone who uh, had a little forethought could see that this would be a problem, and it is. And so the SBA is saying that you should advise people that they are putting themselves at risk if they don't take a job that's offered, at risk that they will be denied future benefits because they did not satisfy the requirements of receiving a benefit. You can't receive a benefit if you are not eligible to, if you refuse a job that's offered.
Yes, because we should not encourage bad behavior. Right
That's
now,
right. We shouldn't encourage,
right.
and the SBA does not want to encourage. So the SBA is saying to you as a business owner, uh, if you that they would like to see you document that you had a conversation with the person. So if you have a letter that you would send to the person saying you are offered this job, and by not accepting this job and continuing to accept unemployment after you turn down a legitimate job offer for your old job, you are holding your right to receive future unemployment benefits in jeopardy.
Uh-huh.
That's in
Okay.
jeopardy. So,
I,
and then you're free to go out and hire anybody else. You
uh-huh.
can replace
Great.
them. You don't have to keep them on your payroll.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And can you a little bit elaborate on the 25% of what kind of expense we're eligible to cover besides rent?
So it's a narrow, it's rent, utilities. If you've got a commercial mortgage, it's payments under the commercial mortgage, but it's not full operating expenses, right? Now, if you
Uh-huh.
wanted to prepay certain rent amounts, or if you had rent amounts from past periods that you did not pay, you can pay them during this 2-month period, and you're paying rent, so that would be covered.
Great. So the rent, we can backtrack the rent. Let's say
Yes,
for March. Right.
yes.
Okay. So we have, let's just say, give a date today is May, we are today, May 14, okay? So the 25%, I can cover March, April, May, June. I can cover 4 months.
So the 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 SBA doesn't care what you call those months. They only care that you can report and you can show evidence that during the 2 months subsequent to the granting of the loan, you made payments for rent. You paid
Okay.
your landlord money.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And whether it was back payments or forward payments doesn't really matter. They just want to make sure that you use the money for rent.
And if we are spending the money and match all criteria, we don't need to pay back anymore?
That's right. It's a gift from your rich uncle.
Uh-huh. Okay, great. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You have answered my question.
Good.
Blair, I'm done.
You're all good. This is why they're here, Vicky. This is why they're here. Tony, I'm waiting
Vicky,
for
what's
Tony
your
to chime in
restaurant?
next. So this is what we're here to do, to help you out.
What's your
Great.
restaurant, Vicky? What's the name?
Xi'an Restaurant on Cannon Drive.
Oh, Xi'an on Cannon. Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Vicky's on our board. Vicky's on our
Oh,
board of
good.
directors. So
Good.
she's a very important restaurateur, or VIR.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Larry. That was very informative. And I don't want to take too much of everyone's time.
We all learn from questions. So your question was a good question.
Thank you.
I think that restaurateurs are very challenged by this situation because there's a lot that has to happen and a lot of moving parts for them, and they've got an employee base that generally is going to be less long-term focused and more short-term focused.
Unfortunately, a lot of the employees, they are not thinking a long term, not only by them not coming back, take advantage of the non-employment, they are also jeopardizing their relationship with employers, you know.
Yes.
At a moment like this, you could see who are the people really step up to hold the business and taking cautionary risk, or there are people say, no, I would rather go, the Uncle Sam will pay me. So I only hope that by government being very generous and giving money out, in the long run, if they don't handle properly, they are encouraging very bad behavior, just like many other things. Giving not correctly is not always beneficial to the business owner.
Well, I think you're going to find that there's going to be a fair amount of debate in Congress, particularly as it relates to the new proposed legislation and the degree to which that builds off of the giveaway that was a part of the last program. There's going to be a fairly significant debate because there are a number of business people like yourself that are seeing that while it's good to put money in people's pockets, people begin to expect to get that and more forever, and we just can't print that kind of money in the country for very long. Other
Agreed.
questions, so that I don't get too political.
Tony, this is your time to chime in. You got almost a personalized advisor here.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks for doing this webinar. I really appreciate it. I'm a sole proprietor. I have a consulting company focusing on hospitality. So right now, all my business has come to a halt because my clients that used to use hotels for conferences and meetings are not booking now, right? So things have had to be pushed out into the fall or into next year. But what I'm trying to do is just be able to develop my client base and try to get the word out about my business and how, as a consultant, I offer these services to clients complimentary. There's no charge for our service. What I do is help negotiate the agreements, do the site selection process, and get our customers the best deal so that they can have the best meeting or program at a hotel or a venue, a convention center. And we have had to now wait and see what the kind of phase and reopening of hotels and and meeting places and other hospitality businesses like restaurants is going to have to go through in order to get reopened. We've gotten a lot of feedback from some of the major brands out there in hospitality, and the hotels are focusing on something you said earlier, Larry, is making sure that the client is comfortable and feels safe with the procedures that are taking place inside the property. So right now, that's our focus, is being able to understand what the CDC and the county is requiring businesses to do, and then making sure that the businesses that we partner with are following through on those procedures and protocols in order to take care of their guest safety. The sanitation is going to be very, very important. So now, right now, we're dealing and grappling with those type of issues, and as a new company, it's an LLC that I formed last year, so I'm in my launch period, kind of as a startup. There were some limitations with some of these programs that are out there right now. So I was wondering if there's other type of funds or relief for a smaller business, a smaller LLC, 1 or 2, 3 employees, that might be able to receive some relief during this time. And follow-up question, I was wondering about the PUA, and there was an announcement that it was going to be extended. Is there a definite time that that's going to be extended to, or what's the update on that?
Well, the government portion, the federal government portion of PUA has a definitive endpoint in July. The
I see.
state portion has been extended to the end of the year,
Got it.
right? So, but the $600 has a definite endpoint. I don't have the specific date, but it's sometime in July.
I
Um,
see.
Now, whether or not future stimulus laws, like the one that Congress is talking about currently, will do that. That's a different question. But the current legislation, that money will end in July from a federal standpoint. Now, on an ongoing basis, the county of Los Angeles, the state of California, as well as a variety of other independent agencies and businesses, have grant programs that they announce periodically. Because no one can print money like the federal government, those programs are not going to be expansive, and they're going to be limited in duration. The county had a program that they announced the other day that, and I think it was going to only be in certain districts of the county. I think Beverly Hills was part of that, right, Blair? Was Beverly Hills part one of, yeah? And it was an opportunity yesterday at I think it was 12 noon. Businesses could apply to receive a $5,000 grant if you met certain criteria. Well,
Yes.
it wasn't that everybody who applied. They were going to go. It was a beauty contest, and there were certain criteria, and your applications would be reviewed, and only a small number of people would actually get the grant. It was, I think there was not an awful lot of money in the pool, but I mean, there were huge numbers of people applying, and they've done
Yes.
this several other times before. They get a pot of money and they offer it. In many ways, it's like someone dangling a bright shiny object, and people run after it, and then they take it away. And that's a rather cynical view, but I am now speaking for the hundreds of thousands of business people who don't have an opportunity to take advantage of that. And
Right.
all they see is that they're running after this bright and shiny object, and then it's no longer there. It's a very frustrating experience. I know that many folks believe that, hey, we're doing something, but sometimes something is not enough. Sometimes something could be more uh, detrimental to your psyche. I know what people are feeling because I hear it. Then they're calling help desks and for information on status from financial institutions and
Right.
even the SBA, and they're on hold for hours upon hours. And when you're struggling to make ends meet and to pay bills, and you're dealt with that amount of frustration of having this bright and shiny object flashed in front of you, and your hopes are built up, and then they're gone. I mean,
Yeah.
it's terrible. But the best programs that are available, even though there are some difficulties, are the two major federal programs. PPP is still available.
Hmm.
It's available for you as a solopreneur,
Okay.
um, and and there will from time to time be opportunities um, that are being offered by other groups and private entities. Keep your eyes open. I know the chamber will make you aware. We'll try to make you aware through the chamber of things that we hear about and see.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did hear about that district um, grant offers for small businesses. Because I'm a newly started LLC, I didn't qualify. I believe one of the requirements was that you have to be in business for at least 2 years. So I was wondering, is there any way for the SBDC to maybe make a recommendation for have adjusting that time frame or tweaking that in one way, or is that just based on the governmental rules that are out there, or is there a possibility to have that tweaked for the smaller um, businesses that are just launching, where I had contracts in place but they all had to be canceled, so that affected my income and you know
Yeah,
challenges to pay bills.
yeah, that is going to be an issue. Most programs are geared to people who have some seasoning in business,
Got it.
and that's the inherent bias when it comes to programs like this. Now, there are a variety of community groups within the country, especially here in Southern California, that are designed to help entrepreneurs and that don't have a bias in terms of how long you've been in business. Now, whether they themselves have access to capital or are aware of certain grant programs, I will make sure that I'll provide to Blair what some of these organizations are, and he can share that with you and other members of the
Great.
chamber.
That'll
Uh,
be
but
helpful.
but there are some organizations that can offer support services and some access to knowledge about maybe some other programs that might be available.
Great. Thank you very much, Larry. Appreciate it.
Okay, if no one else have a question, I have another question.
Shoot, shoot, Vicky.
Yeah, for Larry. So Larry, what you just now advise employer basically to do is to inform the employee by a letter as a record. And let's just say the employee doesn't respond, doesn't want to come back, which a lot of them do that because they haven't realized that there are some kind of a vetting process that can stop them from taking advantage of the unemployment. But I also don't want to do something, and then when the government doesn't follow up, let's say I'm now thinking, what is the content and how clear I should write in the letter to explain to them the consequence.
Well, I think you don't want to put yourself out as being an enforcer for the government. I think you merely want to suggest that they are placing uh, their plans in jeopardy, their right to receive unemployment dollars, because they are not abiding by the requirement, the letter of the law. The letter of the law, if they read every 2 weeks, they will be filling out a form that attests that they are eligible to receive unemployment, that they have not either accepted a job or not received any income. If they've received some sort of income, that income would be netted against what they've placed in their uh, what they've made, what they intend to be, what they are eligible for. That would be netted out based on what amount they have received in income. The paperwork they sign, they're attesting that they will statements are honest and that they agree to abide by the rules of the program. And so, but many people don't think about the repercussions. They just think that, okay, I signed this and I'll get money. They're not clear on what they're signing. So I think you just remind them that they have an obligation to be honest. And if they're not being honest, they're putting themselves in jeopardy.
And yes, and my next question, by me recruiting the people slowly back to work, our business is definitely growing and increasing on takeout and delivery right now. So if I'm recruiting people slowly, some of the people claim they are making $1,000 a week. I don't have, our minimum wage, they are tip driven. So if I can give somebody 3 days, let's just say 20 hours, they are making less than the unemployment.
Yes.
So can they make up the difference? That's important for them. Now they are thinking, now they're looking at the unemployment check and what I offer. So they say, for me not working, even though they are not giving the right information as you stated, okay? They are offered a job. But if I tell them, yes, I can only offer you this week, let's say $500, you're receiving $1,000 up until now, are they eligible to make up the difference from the government of all the layoff hours?
When they have to report to the government the amount of money that they make in a given week, and that amount will be their payment would be adjusted by that amount the following week.
I see.
So
Okay.
you can't double dip. You can make some money, but they're not going to allow you to make more than your benefit.
But they will be compensated somehow for the losing hours, right?
Up to the amount of the benefit.
I see. Okay. All right. Wow. I don't know who is going to monitor all of these details, between the employer, the employees, and the government. I think everybody is very overwhelmed right now.
Right.
It's just, so much nuances. And everybody is trying to position themselves to get the most benefit out of this crisis.
Yes. Everybody wants to get the maximum.
Yes, out of the crisis and by doing the minimum. Welcome to democracy.
Yeah. What a country. Other questions? I know one of the questions I get a lot of concerns the cost of operating a delivery system, using the third-party delivery folks like Grubhub, and that cost that eats into profit. And so, Vicky, how do you manage your delivery, or how do you plan to if you haven't already?
The delivery company are like a mafia.
Yes.
You pay them what they ask you because you need a service right now. Granted, they have gases, they are risking, and also they are not really vetting their people properly. So we have a lot of issue with the delivery drivers. They don't show up. They literally take one box from the bag and eat, because once they drop the bag, the customer call us. You're missing a dish. I say, well, we double check, triple check. Well, the dish is not here. There's a third party handling. Not to mention, they want 30%. They take all the tip. And you know, like sometimes, let's say I do with the delivery company, let's say $1,000. By the time it's in my pocket, it's $400.
Yeah.
And yeah, they take this, they take that. You just keep your, you know, you're trying to wrap your head around this crisis and keep yourself afloat. I really don't have the time or the energy to go into fight and energize. So yes, they are really taking a lot of money, number one. They don't vet the driver. We don't know who are these people. Sometimes the driver disappear with the food. The food never arrived to the customer.
Yes.
And then the customer has to come back after 1 hour to pick up the food. It is so much telephone communication. I don't know. I think the government have to regulate a little bit on this sector, which is a very new service. And it's growing to be a monster in this crisis right now. We are relying.
Well, what we'll do is we'll have a separate section or session aimed at for restaurateurs where we talk about delivery options and strategies, because there are a couple things that we can talk about. So I'll coordinate with Blair. We'll put something together, and we'll have you and other restaurateurs who have delivery related issues, and we'll have a separate private session for you and those restaurateurs.
Because the entire delivery service is wild west.
Yes,
they are right. Dictating the laws, okay? And they get a bunch of people that they are not responsible anyway. Nobody, no company to call. Yeah, I think that would be great. It would be very helpful for the restaurant.
Okay, good.
Other questions? Okay. Well, Larry, unless you have anything else, maybe we can certainly wrap things up a little early. And what I'd say is we have a partnership, the Chamber, sponsored by the City of Beverly Hills, to put on these webinars. So I want to thank the City of Beverly Hills. We're going to have our next one on May 28th, which is about Instagram Live, and it's a great presentation by someone named Deborah Darris, who's a very entertaining and informative speaker. So I encourage you to come out to that. That is on our calendar. And the other thing is, if you are a Beverly Hills business, you are eligible for a complimentary one-on-one consultation with the SBDC. So this is something any business in Beverly Hills can take advantage of. Encourage you to do so. This is something, again, in partnership with the Chamber and the City of Beverly Hills. So all the information is on our website. So go to our website under Business Resources and Small Business Development Center. You'll see a link to complete a sign-up form. You can do that, and then away you go. And I also want to thank Larry, who's been such a great resource for our businesses, constantly answering questions. And I just got several emails from different members today, or businesses today, answering various questions. So thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. So informative. Amazing.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. And we look forward to, and please stay in touch. And we're look forward to continuing to be of service to you all. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Blair.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.